Welcome into sportsbookreview.com. I'm Gary.
I'm Chris.
And this is the College Football Show Week 10 closing lines. And boy, do we have some big-time monster matchups today. Goodness gracious. Hopefully everybody is having a good morning. Let me jump into the chat here right quick and see what everybody's saying. King has jumped in. Cincy, the play of the day. That line has moved a little bit. We are going to talk about that. Jake Biggs loves Florida. I mean, we got all kind of stuff going on. So hopefully everybody is feeling good, and hopefully everybody has faded me the last couple of nights because Wyoming and San Diego State cannot stop turning the football over. They're driving me insane. I swear to you, I am so irritated this morning. But either way, Chris, you're doing pretty well, right?
Hey, man. Started off the night 2-0. That's a good way to start the week.
And,
BYU just beat them to death in that BYU over 31. And then I hit it again yesterday at 33.5. Kind of doubled down on it and wasn't really afraid.
Yeah, it paid off easily.
Needed a field goal at the end of the third quarter to bust it. And I thought, well, I got a whole quarter to get a field goal. That's probably going to happen.
Oh, yeah. And it went well over. Well, you had nothing.
The definition of a rocking chair game, and those are really nice sometimes.
You have got that right. Good gracious. All right, so let me go through the rundown of everything that you guys need to know. First things first, sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. Both of our articles are up over there. We've got a great team of writers. They deep dive into a ton of different games. So go check that stuff out. You can also find us over there, all of our videos, etc. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel. And if you would, so kindly, go ahead and hit that like button for us. It's a little thumbs up thing down there that helps us out a ton. It kind of helps with the YouTube algorithm and whatnot. So if you do us a favor, I mean, we come on here for free all the time anyway. We don't ask a whole lot. Just hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Very easy to do. So go ahead and make sure that you knock that out. Leave some comments for us, and you guys are jumping in. Casey jumps in. If Boise State quarterback didn't get a concussion, Boise State wins that game. Yeah, I don't know about that. Man.
Come on, man. Come on. Let's not be crazy.
Let's see. Paul Riggs said NC State paid off. Northwestern game and under. Yeah, that NC State Miami game last night was something else. We're going to recap just a little bit here in a second, but yeah, I mean, we had some crazy stuff going. Go over to sbrpicks.com/pick6, PICK and the number 6. You can win your fair share of $1,700 in cash prizes. You can pick NFL games, you can pick college football games, whatever you want to do, and it's free to sign up. So, sbrpicks.com/pick6. And again, just so that everybody knows, we try and put this out there all the time. We are not going to get to every game. Now, we're going to have a little Q&A at the end of this. We have shortened the slate that we're going to cover today to allow you guys more time to ask questions. So, we've shortened the slate, but if you want to ask our opinion on a game, just hit us up on Twitter. So we will answer everything that we possibly can, and hopefully we will get to it in time for the games. But we typically stay on that platform pretty regularly. You can find me at Gary WCE.
You can find me at Chris B. Giannini, and yeah, I'll pretty much have my phone on me the whole day while watching football. So
that's exactly what I will be doing as well. So let's go ahead and discuss the recaps, and then a little news and cancellations and all that good stuff. There's no real news today from what I have seen. I've kind of scoured the internet.
Listen, on game day, no news is great news, by the way.
You got that right. You have got that right.
The only news you get on game day is terrible news.
True. Wednesday, we had Maction. So is what it is. We're not going to talk too much about that. This was the first game for everybody. Buffalo looked good. Western Michigan looked good. Toledo looked pretty good. So those are the
mic, bro.
There you go. With your mic. It might be a little low, maybe, I guess.
I'm saying it's cracking.
Oh, I don't know. I don't even hear it. Either way. So Thursday, we had Colorado State and Wyoming. Wyoming turned the football over about 40,000 times, it felt like, and it cost me that game. So that was not good.
Never bet against the bald Italian.
You got that right. Never betting against Adazio again. I mean, I bet on him last week, and he cost me. So maybe I just cannot figure out this Mountain West Conference. Mountain West is killing me right now. San Jose State knocked off San Diego State 28-17 last night. 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter for San Diego State. And San Jose State beat them with a backup quarterback because their quarterback got injured in the first drive. Like, it's just insane.
I think I might have put the kiss of death on you. Somebody came in and says, what the hell, San Diego State? Literally, I don't know. Yeah, 1 minute into the game, San Jose State quarterback goes out, and I sent you a text, and I said, "Well, that's good for your San Diego and your under bet. That should come in pretty easily." And then I
Yep.
turned that game off. And boy, oh boy, when you sent me in the end of the fourth quarter, your raging text, I was shocked to see how that turned out.
I was so mad last night.
Listen, I had no idea. I just kind of thought, oh well, Gary's good here. Turn that game off.
Miami won 44-41 over NC State, so that worked out fairly well for NC State bettors. Miami had 11 guys out for this game, so that, of course, not great, but they get the win, and it was incredibly entertaining, probably the most entertaining game of the night. And then BYU and Boise ended up being a dud, but Boise, man, they got their rear ends whipped. BYU looks every bit of legit. Right.
Yep.
They're just unreal. 51-17, and it was never in doubt. I
would love to see this BYU team play one of these big boy elite teams that struggles on defense. I mean, that's Alabama, that's Florida, that's Ohio State. These are teams that are not complete teams. They're just elite offenses. Can BYU hang with a team like that?
It would be fun to see. I mean,
they could score on anybody.
Yeah.
I think it would be a lot like that Ole Miss Alabama game. I mean, who gets the ball last might win the damn game.
Now you might be right about that. They are a big time team right now, and I'm telling you, they have got a lot of history, a lot of tradition, all that. I could see the playoff committee putting them in, even with the weak schedule, all that, because they are trouncing people. Like they did it with Alabama a few years ago, and I understand Alabama's a different breed, right? But man, BYU looks absolutely for real.
I know Boise lost their quarterback. People keep bringing that up. Listen, guys, I don't know that matters. I really don't.
No,
I really don't. They didn't stop them the whole game. So at some point in time, even if Boise scores every drive, they just didn't stop them.
Yeah.
And now you just have a much higher scoring football game. But at the end of the day, I think BYU's winning that game, and they're winning it kind of handily. My thought on BYU getting in and not just getting in, but how they're playing. And I've said this before. I've done it jokingly. This is the difference between 25 to 27-year-olds and 18 to 20-year-olds.
Yes.
Right? In a world of COVID, what have we looked at? We've wanted the more mature team, the more experienced team, the older veteran teams. Oh, there's a reason this year they're just so much more mature than these other guys because they're grown men.
Well, hey, Stephen Godfrey from Banner Society said that last night. He said the reason why BYU is so good is because they have a bunch of dads on the team.
They do. I mean, they do.
It's something different.
Being a religious school in the Mormon faith, and they send them out after high school off to a mission for several years. I don't know how long it is, but then they come back and go to college. They're 4 or 5 years older than these other guys.
Yeah,
and that tends to matter a lot.
Yes, I mean their bodies have developed differently.
Oh so yeah,
it is what it is. We got 10 canceled games or postponed games today.
That's going to start happening. The more people we get in the pool, the more postponements we're going to get.
Yes, Arizona, Utah, Air Force, Army, Tulsa, Navy, Purdue, Wisconsin, UTSA, Rice, Charlotte, MTSU, FIU, and UTEP. Louisiana Tech, North Texas, Louisville, Virginia has been moved to next week, and then Washington, Cal is off. So is what it is. We are done with those. Let's go ahead and do our recap for our Tuesday picks. Do you have those with you?
I've got all my stuff.
Okay, here, let me go and toss mine out there. I've got Georgia State minus 18. That is now up to like 19 and a half. Still like it under 3 touchdowns. I think Georgia State kills them today. Texas Tech, I had plus 9.5 at TCU. That is now out to 10. I am hitting it again this morning. Northwestern minus 3.5 against Nebraska. Still like that one. I mean, it's still sitting about the same spot. I think you can find a 4 out there if you want Nebraska, but either way. Florida team total over 24.5. That is still sitting at the same spot. I will take that. And then Florida plus 3.5 against Georgia. That is now down to 3. And I still like it because I think Florida can win the football game. Chris, what are your Tuesday picks?
Tuesday picks. Well, I had BYU last night, BYU over, so those are done. I got North Carolina -11. Right now I'm seeing 11.5. I've got Northwestern -3.5. It's still 3.5 pretty much everywhere. Cincinnati -13.5. You can now get -13. You don't have to have that hook if you want to play it. I've got Florida +3.5. The +3 is fine. I'm still riding Notre Dame. I have them at +6. Now it's only +5.5, so that's dropped a touch. I got Arkansas +2. You can only get it at +1 now. And then I got 2 team totals that are still riding. I've got Northwestern's team total under 24.5. And
No,
it's
Nebraska.
still Nebraska. I'm sorry. Nebraska's team total. Correct. Nebraska's team total under 24.5. It's still 24.5. And I've got Florida's team total over 24.5. It's now 25. And I love them all.
Yeah, I can see you with that. So we're gonna give out some favorite bets once we roll through this shortened slate that we've got. A lot of guys jumping in. Casey K jumped in and said that Zach Wilson was not for real.
Zach Wilson, overrated. I think that's a little crazy.
That's absolutely crazy. That guy can.
Well, with the logic that O-line's so great and all this other stuff. Listen, that same logic tells you that Tua was overrated and Joe Burrow was overrated. And I think from what Joe's proven in the NFL is that's just not true. Just because you have a lot of weapons around you doesn't mean that those weapons are a crutch.
Agreed.
You can still be elite with weapons.
No, you're right about that. Let's move into the noon slate. Arizona State USC, that's rotation 357, 358, opened at 7.5, quickly jumped up in favor of USC. It is still sitting USC -11. Total opened at 59.5. That is down to 57. Everybody likes the under on these morning games, especially out west. First time they've ever done a 9 a.m. local kickoff. You got any thoughts on this one? I kind of lean the under here.
I mean, I think I like Arizona State. I'm a little nervous, but it's all Herm. It's all I'm betting on the coach that I like and a coach that I've enjoyed following. A lot of it is TV tricks and biases. I watched game day before we come on here, and they did a special on Herm and the quarterback and how close they are. And, it's just a guy I like.
No, it makes sense. Makes sense. Let's see. Matt Miller said, well, Tua was overrated. He threw 3 routes well at Alabama. That's so Matt, you know why you come in here and start messing with me this morning.
I do think there's a world in which he's not the greatest NFL quarterback, but I think he's going to be very good. I still think he's going to be very good.
Yes, I still think Tua can throw the football.
No, there's no doubt. We've watched him throw the football. You still have to hit those routes sometimes.
Yep.
So
you got it. 323, 324 is Liberty at Virginia Tech, and this one is, while the line doesn't say it, I think this shapes up to be a fascinating football game. Liberty is a really good team. I mean, it opened at 16.5 with a total of 66.5. The total is up to 68.5, and it is still Virginia Tech -16.5. It went down to 14.5 a little bit earlier in the week. A bunch of people came in and hit Virginia Tech again. You can find a 17 at a couple of spots, et cetera, et cetera. I got to tell you, I really think that this Liberty thing, I'm going to jump on this. It's not going to be for, a lot. I'm not putting a bunch of money on it, but I think I'm hitting Liberty today. I feel pretty good about this football team. They had a week off, and no, they're not going to be able to slow down Virginia Tech for the entire ball game, but I think they can hang with them offensively.
If they can hang with them offensively, there's going to be a lot of points scored because I think Vitek's going to score a bunch. But this thing is now up to over 3 scores. It's
17 points.
That's a lot. That's a lot. They could still get beat by 2 touchdowns and still, cover this line. And I think teams that can score a bunch are hard to blow out. They're just hard to blow them out.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that. You were right about that. Let's move into Michigan and Indiana. And goodness gracious, what have we got going on here? 339, 340 rotation numbers. It's on FS1. Michigan opened -3.5. That quickly went down to 3. It is now back up to 3.5 at most spots. And I think you can get a 4 out there if you want to take Indy. 55.5 was the total. It's down to 54.5 now. I don't know what to make of this game. I think Michigan comes out and handles this game because I don't think Michigan is as bad as they looked last week. And this is a game that they always win. I mean, they've won, what, 24 in a row against Indiana? Is that the number?
I
mean,
don't know. I don't know that. But we're on the same side of this. This is a world in which Indiana's 2-0, and they're the happiest in the world to be 2-0, and Michigan's 1-1, and they are more pissed off that they could ever be 1-1. And I think this team comes out, plays with pride, plays hard. I think there's a world that they just come out and kill them. That I don't know how, because they have to, in the secondary, they have to be able to slow somebody down. Like, that's the issue.
Their defense has always matched up fairly well with Indiana.
Yeah, but right now that secondary is bad. That secondary was getting gashed. I don't care how you've matched up in the past. Indiana's got receivers.
Yeah, they certainly do. They got playmakers.
That's the only thing that scares me is if they can cover those receivers, this is a ball game. This is a bloodbath. If they can't, this is going to stay tight the whole way.
Cream of Wheat Jones said Michigan, Indiana is over guarantee. So, yeah.
I mean, they think Indiana's going to score on them. I definitely think Michigan's going to score on them. I think Michigan's pissed off, and they're going to play with some pride and a lot of.
Yeah, I mean that's under a key number. Yeah, I'd probably lean that way. Yeah, I may end up jumping that one. I may take that one. So I may just spray the board today. Like, just bet on everything.
We'll spray and pray. I've been there.
Hey, I'm at that point. I'm on a streak of 5-14 against the spread, or against the number. I am doing awful. I had the under in that San Diego State game, so that hit. That was good. So I'm 1-2 on the week so far. But yeah, good gracious. Arkansas State and Louisiana, the last noon game we're going to hit right now, 389-390. Louisiana opened a 13-point favorite. It is now out to 14.5. 63.5 was the total. That is now out to 68.5. They expect there to be points galore, and I don't know that I'm taking that one. I would probably lean the under here because Arkansas State has not looked good lately, and Louisiana tends to try and slow the game down a little bit. So, I mean, I know which way you're going on this. You tend to think Arkansas State can keep it close, right?
Well, I don't know. I think they haven't played well, but I kind of think at some point in time they're going to get back on track. I don't know if it's going to be high scoring or not. I mean, it could be high scoring. It could not be. Either way. I just think at some point in time, since Louisiana beat Iowa State, they haven't beaten anybody by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So now you got 14.5 as the number. I think the only play I could make is Ark State.
You might be right about that. You might be right about that.
Not something I'm in love with, though. There's caution there.
There's other things where there's more value, right?
Yeah, 100%.
All right, let's move into the noon slate, or the afternoon slate, excuse me. Big game, top 10 game, 381, 382 rotation numbers, Florida and Georgia. Georgia opened a 6-point favorite, total of 52.5. This is 3:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS. It is now down to 3. Georgia -3 and 54.5. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think the wrong team's favored. I think this line is strictly on trend and history, and I just think that's wrong. You can't keep looking in the past. You have to look at what these teams are. Georgia's going to struggle to score, and I don't think there's a defense in the country that can slow Florida down.
Florida is not the super explosive team. They are typically the incredibly efficient team.
They're going to matriculate the ball down the field. They're going to go on long drives, which wears defenses down, which means in the fourth quarter they can do whatever they want.
I think the biggest thing in this game is that Georgia's defense is going to be missing some key guys. And even if they do show up to play, which I don't think those safeties are going to play.
No, I don't either. But I don't know that I don't know that it matters. They were 100% healthy when they played Alabama. I cannot tell you that Alabama offense is much better than this Florida offense. The running game is far better than Florida's, but outside of that,
the explosiveness is the other side, because I don't think Florida's receivers are they're not going to beat you over the top.
But you don't have to be explosive. You don't have to score on every play. You just have to keep getting first downs, keep the defense on the field, let them get tired, let them get worn down, and then you just dominate the football game.
Yeah, okay. I can get with that. So we got people jumping in saying your mic is too low. If you got to get, is there nothing else we can do? I don't know.
I can turn it up a little bit, but it's pretty high on my end. But I can't tell what it sounds like.
Well, that's perfect there. It sounded fine on.
Sounds the exact same in my ears now that I've turned it up. So
it sounds a little higher on this end. So hopefully that helps. KCK said, "I guarantee Georgia wins this game." I mean, There you go.
I just don't know what you see from Georgia that makes you think that. That's all.
I have no idea either, because I don't think they're going to play JT Daniels, and I just
like
don't
that's a nice statement to make. I would like to know what you think. Like, where's that coming from? Because this offense has been bad, and if you really think that defense is going, you think this is going to be a 13-14 ball game? I just think you're crazy.
No, it will certainly not be that. It will certainly not be. Let's move off of that one. Let's talk Houston and Cincinnati. And man, Cincy has been looking fantastic here lately. 327, 328 rotation numbers. It's 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. So this is the big time spot, right? So national guest area, that kind of thing. Kind of excited about it. I mean, we'll see what's going on. Is it still ESPN? Did I see something about that game moving to ABC? Am I crazy?
No, I don't have an answer for that. And
it is ABC.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's moved over to ABC. I think some games got canceled or whatever, and they moved it over. So yeah, it may depend on the market though. Either way, Cincy opened a 10.5 point favorite, and the total was at 58. The total is now down to 51.5, and Cincy is favored by 13 now. They were up to 13.5, 14, and it jumped to 14.5 at one point, like late Thursday, and now it's back down to 13. Do we have a whole lot of faith in Houston in this spot?
No, I definitely think the under moving down 5 points, 6 points is the right thing, because if they thought this was going to be a high score, if Houston had a chance, the under wouldn't have moved down.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because in order for Houston to win this game, they've got to score 35-40.
William Bush jumped in and said, since he puts Houston in a body bag today, Corp City.
Yep.
That might be right.
I think Houston plays exactly like Memphis, UCF, and SMU. The problem is I think Houston is worse than Memphis, UCF, and SMU. I think they are the fourth of all of those schools. And what Cincinnati has done to the first two that they've played was absolutely the definition of what they said: put them in a body bag and beat them to death.
Yes. Beat them with a bag of oranges, right?
And I think they're going to do that to Houston. I think Houston's going to have a long day.
I tend to side with you. I like that. Since he
love this play.
So yeah, I might have to dive in on that one. So all right, let's see. Moving on, let's do Pitt and Florida State, because this one I don't know what to make of this. It opened Pitt minus 2.5. This is 319, 320 rotation numbers, by the way. Pitt minus 2.5 with a total of 51. It flipped. It's now Florida State minus 2 with a total of 52. So the line, or the total, hasn't moved much, but we have completely moved through zero and jumped over on the other end. Without Kenny Pickett, I don't feel good about Pitt, but I also don't feel really good about this Florida State offense being able to score against this Pitt defense. Pitt's starting safety decided to opt out for the rest of the season. Obviously, that's not good. I don't know what to make of this. Let's see. Khalif Peso said, is Pitt secondary healthy? I mean, the guys that are still there are, right? That's the biggest issue. I think the secondary is going to be fine. They are going to be able to get pressure on this Florida State quarterback. It's whether or not he can move out of the pocket enough or move inside the pocket enough to be able to make throws. And Jordan Travis has not shown that he's really totally capable of doing that. I don't know what to make of this. Like, this feels like it could end up being an under game, even with the total at 52.
Oh, no. I think 52 is a lot of points. This game's going to finish in the 30s, man.
I kind of think
I could see 37, 38, and I can't see much more than that. So,
it feels like a 17-14 kind of ball game.
Yes, exactly. And with that being said, I don't know who scores 17. I don't know who scores 14. When this line first came out, I had a feeling that Florida State was the better team, but I could be wrong. And I'm also incredibly biased. I like Norvell a lot, and I want to see him succeed. And for a couple of weeks, this team was getting better week in and week out. Then they ran into a couple of problems, and that happens. And, it's part of a young team changing, coaching change. Like, they're still learning who they are. Yeah. And, but we all agree Florida State has far more talent than Pitt, right?
Yes. I mean, Pitt is more talented than people realize, but
yes, I'm not saying Pitt's not talented. But Florida State is still a big boy school in Florida that has 4 stars and 5 stars across the board everywhere.
You are correct. You are correct about that. Now, I hadn't made a whole hell of a lot of difference here lately, but
no. For 3 years, it has not mattered.
You are
so, it's a stay away for me, but I kind of like Florida. If I had to play it, I'd take Florida State.
That makes sense.
I'd definitely take the under. That I do like.
Yes, under 52 would be my play there. Let's move on. Last afternoon game, 375, 376 rotation numbers, Oklahoma State and Kansas State. The Cowboys opened a 9.5-point favorite with a total of 51. That total is down to 48, and yet the line has gone up. Oklahoma State minus 14 is what you get right now.
It's gone up a lot.
Yeah, I understand that Kansas State got the rear ends whipped last week at West Virginia. I get that. I don't think that Oklahoma State is 14 points better than Kansas State. Maybe I'm crazy. Like, it doesn't feel now I'm staying away from this because I've bet on Oklahoma State the last 2 weeks. Of course, the 1 week that I would decide to bet against them, they would end up covering the spread. So I'm staying away. I'm not doing it. But man, the Big 12 has been drunk lately.
Yeah, that's the only way I know to describe it is I am out on the Big 12. It is just a neighborhood that I just don't drive in anymore.
That makes absolute perfect sense. Yeah, that one there's in no world should Oklahoma State be favored by 2 touchdowns here.
No, not at all. No.
But watch them end up winning by 3 touchdowns. So here's what it is. I'm staying away from it, but we let you know our feelings. All right, let's dive through the evening slate. We'll kind of roll through some of these fairly quickly. Not the biggest game of the night, but we'll get to that one here momentarily. First off, 399-400. That would be South Carolina hosting Texas A&M. A&M opened an 8-point favorite with a total of 55.5. That total is down to it's up to 58.5. Is that right? Am I looking at that right?
I'm watching something else.
Sorry, I wrote it down wrong. Yeah, it's up to 58.5. Sorry. So it's up to 58.5, and A&M is now favored by 10. I kind of like South Carolina in this spot at home. Got a week off after getting their brains beat in by LSU. It feels like people might have written off South Carolina a little too much after that LSU loss. But at the same time, like A&M is really, really good. Which way are you leaning?
I mean, I've been on this all week. I think South Carolina is the play. There's a world in which, I don't know. I don't know if they can win the game, but I definitely think they can keep this between 2 scores. And it's simply my same logic for Arkansas last week. It is you have a bad defense on A&M that is doing what we kind of think a lot of teams are going to do. When they get up on the team late, they put backups in because they understand we're playing in the world of COVID. And so they play a completely different style of game when they think the game is in hand. And this is how backdoor covers happen. It just is. As long as they're going to be 2-score favors against these teams that I think can have some explosiveness to them, I do believe that I like the dogs in those games just against the spread because it's the same thing that happened in Arkansas. It's you're up by a lot. The other team is desperate, trying to claw back to win the game. So they're throwing haymakers, and you kind of let them get a couple of haymakers in, and you're not even afraid of it.
That kind of makes sense. Yeah, if that's the case, that makes perfect sense as to why the over has gone up. So,
yep,
that does make sense. All right, let's talk about the biggest game of the evening, and that would be Clemson and Notre Dame. 401, 402 rotation number, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on NBC. Opened at Clemson minus 2.5 with a total of 50.5. It is now out to 5.5. Now it got out to 6 at a couple spots, 6.5 even, but it's come back down just a touch. So it's sitting Clemson minus 5.5 with a total of 50. And man, I know that you are all over. Let's see, you are all over.
I'm on the Irish
Notre Dame, but I'm all over the under here. I think the under's the play. Like, I don't think we're going to see a lot of points here. And I think that falls in line with Notre Dame. Like, with Notre Dame actually being able to keep this thing close, right?
Yeah, I definitely like the under. I don't think a lot of points are going to be scored. I think that this is going to be a tight game. I think Notre Dame's defense is really good. I think they are going to bottle up Etienne, And when they bottle up Etienne, they're going to give this true freshman quarterback making his second start against a real defense this time, not against a Boston College defense. And I think they're going to give him fits. I think they're going to throw a lot of exotic blitz packages his way, and I think he's going to make a lot of mistakes. There's a world where I think Notre Dame can win the football game. Now, I know there's a lot of people that think that's crazy because they've gotten blown out when they've stepped up to that next level and they've played the Georgias and the Alabamas and the Clemsons and the Ohio States. They're not close in these games, but I believe this is a little different. And I also think that there's a world in which there's a chasm between Trevor Lawrence and the new freshman. I'm not going to try to say his name. You're really good at that. I'm really bad at that, so I'm going to just stay in my lane. But I just think this kid's incredibly talented, and he's probably going to be elite one day. But I don't think that day is going to be today. And so I think low scoring, very close game. Notre Dame has a fighting shot to win the game if they can put any points on the board. And, I'm just afraid of Etienne. That's it. You just surround. I mean, he's literally, this is like playing the Saints. You just find two linebackers and put them on Kamara, and I don't know how they score. I would have two guys just watching Etienne at all times.
That's probably the smart way to defend that. So I do like the under. You like the Irish. Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a whale of a ball game, man.
I do too.
It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, what might not be a lot of fun is if it's still raining out in Eugene this evening, and we can go ahead and talk about that game right quick and roll through the rest of these. 359 Stanford, 360 Oregon. It is in Eugene tonight. No fans in the stands. Oregon opened a 9-point favorite. They are out to a 10-point favorite now. And the total of 52.5 has gone down to about 51. So, by the way, Jeremy Jones jumped in and said, got a buddy who doesn't even bet. Got him hooked on this show. Keep it up, fellas. Favorite 3 hours of the week.
Oh, thank you, guys. Appreciate that, man. We really do.
Hey, I'm all over it. Hey, Norm jumped in. He said, I think the Irish win the game. Vitalis said Hurricanes were embarrassed yesterday, even though they won. Let's see. Oh, Vitalis hit me up and told me that he's hearing rumors about Houston plus 13 and ECU plus 3. So just kind of tossing that out for everybody to kind of toy with in your head a little bit. So, but yeah, we appreciate Vitalis coming in, man. Marco Never Sleep jumps in on Blimson. Yeah, there you go. So Stanford and Oregon, let's discuss what Oregon has lost. Penei Sewell, a bunch of dudes off that secondary, a bunch of guys off that offensive line from last year, a bunch of dudes. They've lost a bunch of dudes. Justin Herbert. They brought in Anthony Brown from Boston College as a grad transfer quarterback. He may not even start. And I don't remember the other guy's name. But Stanford, Davis Mills, David Shaw, that whole bunch. Do we think Stanford is one of those teams that is the more experienced team? But man, so what is the practice time and whatnot set up like for these guys? I mean, is there a way to find an edge in this game?
Nope. No, you're just guessing. This is gambling. Any bit of analytics is just somebody pulling numbers out of their ass and guessing. That's it. And if they're right, they're going to say, look how good I am. And if they're wrong, they're going to say, oh, well, we just need more data. We don't have a big enough sample size. So they have built-in excuse to just make shit up.
Yeah.
But that's what I believe they're doing. I believe they're making shit up.
I think you might be right about that. I mean, it's just there's no way to know. I mean, it's the same thing with the Mountain West. Right, we're 3 weeks into the Mountain West, or this will be the third week in. But how are you supposed to know any of this stuff? Like the MAC stuff, I felt pretty good about Buffalo the other night, but and it ended up hitting. But that doesn't mean that we necessarily.
No, you're still just guessing. You're still just guessing. So I've got a 2-week moratorium on the Pac-12. I'm going to watch for 2 weeks. And even at by week 3, I still don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm still guessing because I only have 2 weeks of sample size. But,
who knows? The way this season has gone, even if you've got like 6 weeks of sample size, stuff goes crazy.
The only thing that I have put faith in that I have seen so far that is strong numbers is experienced teams are playing far better than inexperienced teams. And it's not close.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's it. It doesn't matter if one team has nothing but 5 stars and the other team has nothing but 2 stars. If all those 2 stars are juniors and seniors and all those 5 stars our freshmen and sophomores. The juniors and seniors are just kicking the crap out of them, and it's not close.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. There you go. James Lill jumps in. He said, I need 3 games. Please help me out. Are you confident in any games? And then Khalif Peso, can we touch Tennessee, Arkansas?
I've been writing down games that we're not touching on that people have asked about the best I can. So,
oh, that's good. We're going to do a Q&A at the end of this, and we've only got a couple more games to hit. So, Tennessee, Arkansas, 403-404. That's Tennessee as a 1-point favorite. And then it went up a little bit. It went down a little bit. And now it's right back where it was. Tennessee -1. And the 53.5 has dropped to 52.5. This is SEC Network game tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. You are leaning Arkansas, right?
Yeah, I'm not just leaning Arkansas. I love Arkansas.
Yeah, you love
I think wrong team's favored. Anytime Tennessee has played a good defense, Guarantano falls apart. Unless somebody else starts taking snaps for Tennessee, I'll have to change my opinion. But right now, as far as I know, Guarantano is going to take those snaps today. Guarantano's given Arkansas the ball at minimum 3 times.
Yeah.
Arkansas is not an elite offense, but I do think they are a big play offense. I love Kendall Browse as the play caller. I think that offense is consistent and good. Tennessee's going to give them fits a little bit. Felipe Franks will also turn the ball over some. And Pruitt does have a good defense. Guarantano is a mess, though. I mean, he is a complete mess. And if you get him rattled early, it's ball game quickly. And this is the definition of a guy that gets caught in quicksand in a game. And he cannot get out. And everything he does to try to get out just makes it worse and worse and worse. And the sad thing is they don't have another trigger man behind him, it seems, that can be any better or different.
That was a really good metaphor. So I like that.
Arkansas's got a good enough defense. If they were playing Ole Miss, I'd have a different opinion on this game. If they were playing LSU, I'd have a different opinion on this game. Arkansas's got a good enough defense. I think they're better than Kentucky, and we saw Kentucky give them fits. I think they're better. I don't know. They're not better than Georgia. That's overreaction. That's hyperbole. But they're a good defense that's going to give them fits, and this guy can't get out of trouble.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. You're right about that. All right, let's dive into the last 2 here. The first one, South Alabama, Coastal Carolina. Everybody loves Coastal. Love Coastal right now.
The books are trying to help themselves with Coastal by just bumping those numbers up bigger and bigger. How big do they have to get for people to get off Coastal? That's the question I'm curious about.
You may have to hit 3 touchdowns. Like it's
the 17 hadn't done it.
So it opened 15.5. It's out to 17.5. People are still piling on them. Total went from 56.5 down to 56. Like South Alabama's a team that people have loved to bet on as a dog this year, and nobody's doing it. I mean, the numbers show like Coastal is getting a massive number of bets here, and the money is all on.
It's all on Coastal. Yeah.
So I mean, do we jump off Coastal just to?
I've been off of them 2 weeks in a row because it's a numbers game. They've covered every week. At some point in time, they're not going to cover.
Yeah. I'm not touching the game because I think the number's too high. But man, good gracious,
Yes, if I had to play it, I'd play Coastal because it's not big enough yet. But these books aren't just going to keep getting hammered by the same team over and over again. At some point in time, they're gonna catch up. Yeah.
I think you're right. All right, closing out the evening slate before we jump into our favorite bets from the morning and then our Q&A. Let's see. We have got Washington State and Oregon State. This is the Pac-12 After Dark game. It's on FS1. Washington State opened a 3-point favorite. That is completely flipped. It is now Oregon State -3. The total of 60.5 is now out to 63.5. The only reason why I would not touch the total in this game is because you've got a bunch of new dudes on Washington State's offense. I don't know how Nick Rolovich's offense is going to run. It's not exactly like Mike Leach's, but it's fairly similar. They both kind of like tempo. Oregon State loves to score. So I would feel better if this is part of a pick'em thing that you got going on or whatever. I would lean the over in this spot. I do like Oregon State because they got more experience coming back. So that's the reason why I would go that way. But we both love Nick Rolovich. So
Nick Rolovich needs a different kind of quarterback than Leach. Leach literally, usually until this year, can take a course and find a way to put up 25 or 30 on everybody, and give him 2 weeks of practice, and the guy's good. The issue is Rolovich kind of tends to do really well when he's got a gunslinger, when he's got somebody who forgets about the interceptions, doesn't care, and just let her rip tater chip, but has a big arm and has a lot of swagger. I mean, every quarterback that he's done great with was just kind of one of those types of guys. And I don't know that he inherited that, and I don't think that he was able to recruit that. We'll see tonight.
Yeah. Now you're in Casey jumped in. Washington State owns this series. They have recently, but
that was Leach owned that series. That's where we got to be careful of. Leach owned it.
Smith has turned that program around, so it can't really follow trends in this spot. Yeah. Let's dive into our favorite bets of the morning. Do you have any that you want to add?
Nope, I don't. I didn't see anything that if I add anything, it'll be Michigan.
Here's what I am adding to my card. Liberty team total over 27, Liberty plus 17. I like Memphis minus 17. I dug into those numbers a little bit against South Florida. I don't think South Florida is very good at all. I think Memphis is going to destroy them. Let's see. Fat Win said, my favorite bet this week is App State minus 20.5. I ain't touching that. Feels like too many points, but I could be wrong. Nebraska team total under 24.5. I'm jumping on that with you, Chris. Mississippi State team total under 31.5. This is a team that cannot score. Why do we think that all of a sudden, just because they're playing Vanderbilt, who is actually a decent defense, that they're going to put up 31? That's insane.
I disagree with that. I would. That's a complete stay away from me. I think this is at some point in time, Mississippi State's got to get right. They're going. We all went through in college. We all went through slumps. Okay, and then you bring in some three, and you pound the hell out of it, and that's called a slump buster.
Are you calling Vandy the slump buster?
Oh, Vanderbilt is 100% a slump buster.
You might be right about that. Either way, I'm going to put a little bit on that one.
Staying away because I don't trust State, but I'm just telling you, Vanderbilt's not even a 3. I mean, they're like a 2.5.
The fact that I can get under 31.5, like I feel pretty good about that hook. Clemson Notre Dame under 50.5. Already jumped on that one this morning. And UMass at Marshall, I'm going over 55.5 because I think Marshall might do that by themselves. And if I get like some spare change touchdown out of UMass or even a field goal, like I feel like this hits with ease. So I think there's no way that UMass stops Marshall whatsoever. So, all right. So let's do this Q&A. Do you have
So I've been writing them down early in the thing. Someone asked UCLA, Colorado. Got any feelings? I'm seeing 5 and 57.5. This is a Pac-12. This number could be 5. It could be 15. It could be -5 the other way. I don't have a damn clue.
So you would think that UCLA would be the better team and whatnot, and it feels like they should be favored by significantly more, considering Colorado had a coach that was hired in like what, March? I mean, it was
not just that, but Colorado lost 2 of the best players they've had in 10 years, maybe longer.
Like they lost a bunch. So I'm staying away from that one because the line seems fishy.
Anyway, just because I don't know what the hell I'm doing with these teams, but I would if you tell me, give me a play, I'd take UCLA at some point in time. Chip's got to get things somewhat figured out. He's got to be able to beat bad teams,
right? Like Chip kind of lost that locker room a little bit, we think.
Yeah, but you got to be able to beat bad. You still have to beat bad teams. The talent differential should be massive here.
You're right. Hey, Darren McCardle said Michigan State versus Iowa. That line's like 7.
Yeah, so that's the other game I've got. It's not 7. It's 5.5.
Oh, it opened at 7. It's down to 5.5.
Yeah, no, everybody's been betting Michigan State heavily.
That line stinks.
That line stinks like shit.
I would jump on Iowa.
I'm not touching
that line. Freaking stinks. There's something weird about that line. Michigan State coming off a big time win. Iowa has looked like complete doo-doo the last 2 weeks. Like there's something weird about that line. I would take Iowa minus the 4.5 or -5. It just jumped. There's no 4.5s left. So I would still take a -5. So let's see.
So I've got one person asked about UMass Marshall. You talked about it a little bit for an over/under. I actually like Marshall. I don't play games in the 30s ever. I'm actually going to play a game in the 40s now. But it's just I love Doc Holliday and I get to bet on him in a game where they're just going to murder somebody. And I get to say I held a ticket that was 44 is what I saw it at this morning. So I'm going to play that. Somebody asked Hawaii, New Mexico. It's minus 14.5 and 64.5. What do you think about Hawaii?
I don't. So I like Hawaii at home. New Mexico showed, against San Jose State that they can actually put up some points. They look fairly decent. I would still likely ride Hawaii late night tonight because their offense has looked decent, except for when they went over to Wyoming. Yep. So when they played Fresno came out and actually looked pretty decent. Like if I had to pick this game, I would take Hawaii minus. You can get a 14 over at Heritage. So I'd take that. I wouldn't touch the total because I don't know how much I can trust New Mexico. Like if you have to just take it and it's whatever, like you're behind at night and you want to catch up, like we don't recommend that. But I'd probably take the over because I think that New Mexico can run the football on them a little bit, and I think Hawaii is going to put up a ton of points.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I saw somebody ask about the Ohio State game, Ohio State Rutgers. I'm seeing 38-39 and over under of 64.
I would take Rutgers all day.
Yeah, I think that would be the only play I could make here, but I'm a complete stay away because I think Ohio State is having to make some way.
Showcase, right? They need to show all they got, right?
Yep.
I'm with you. I think those guys actually like Greg Schiano. Like
I love Greg Schiano. You know that though.
So, I know, but he coached at Ohio State just 2 years ago. So I would lean Rutgers in that spot. Like I'm probably not gonna bet. And if that line gets to 40, I might. So it is what it is. Let's see what else.
Somebody asked Texas dropped to 5 points. What do you like on that? Any thoughts?
That's a stay away from me. Like
I mean, if we didn't hit on it, it's usually because we didn't foresee any reason to hit on it. But I don't really have, like I said, the Big 12's drunk, and that's just somebody you just don't want driving your car. North Carolina Duke. Somebody asked about that. I love North Carolina. North Carolina looked like crap last week, but they're a good team. This is a situation where I think this is a get right game. Duke is not very good. North Carolina should be able to run the ball and dominate this football game.
Minnesota, Illinois, we had a couple of guys ask about that. Minnesota's favored by 7, and this is complete stay away. Minnesota has looked like complete garbage. Illinois' quarterback is out again this week, and Illinois looked okay last week with their backup quarterback, but if you look at like ESPN's FPI, which that's just one of 100 different metrics that are out there that people seem to love, it's got Illinois with like almost 60% chance to win this ball game. Like it just feels weird. Maryland's defense just looks awful, but from what I understand,
Minnesota's defense.
Sorry, Minnesota's defense.
But yes, Minnesota's defense looks awful. They are.
Yeah, it's still they're supposed to get some guys back. Minnesota's defense is supposed to get some guys back, and I don't know what to make of it. I had another guy ask about Maryland, Penn State. That line is up to 27.
It's too big. If I took this game, I'd have to take Maryland because I think they can score on this Penn State team. But Penn State's good. This is going to be a high-scoring affair.
So let me give you a reason to stay off of it.
Well, I'm definitely staying off of it. But
for anybody that needs to know, Penn State's head coach James Franklin does not like Maryland because he was not given the job at Maryland because he was the offensive coordinator under Ralph Friedgen there.
I forgot about that. The last couple of years, he runs it up on them, don't he?
Yes, they beat him.
You're right.
Last year.
Yep, so, you're right. Yeah, and then he does like to run it up. I did forget about that, and it wasn't until after the game you pointed that out to me last year, and I was like, "Damn it, why weren't we on that?"
And then there's also the recruiting aspect because James Franklin likes to go down into the DMV, so it's what it is. So, let's see, what other questions have we got? Any others that you wrote down?
No, I didn't see anything else. Somebody just asked Fresno State, UNLV, and SMU Temple. I'm staying away from the SMU Temple game. Temple got the hell beat out of them by Memphis last week.
Yeah, quarterback could or could not be out. They don't know yet.
Yeah, if he's back, I like Temple. If he's not, I like SMU. So
yeah, I mean, who knows?
But I don't feel strong enough to be on it at all.
Khalif Peso jumps in. Said, I love the interaction. Hopefully you two get $1 million contract and maximum exposure.
Man, I appreciate that.
I would.
If you know somebody, put in a call.
Put in a call for us. There you go.
I use it as a reference.
All right. It's we've been running 49 minutes. That means we got 10 minutes until games kick.
Let's get out of here.
Anything else we need to hit?
That's it, brother. Let's go.
There we go. All right. You guys know what to do. Make sure that you like this video, that you are subscribed to the channel, of course, and leave your picks down below. We want to hear what your edges are. We want to see what you got right, what you got wrong, all that good stuff. So knock that out for us. Make sure that you comment, you like, you subscribe, and share the show out. Tell your friends about it. We would certainly appreciate that. Go over to sbrpicks.com/pick6 and get your picks in. You can win your share of $1,700 in cash prizes. Go to sbrpicks.com/NCAAF. That is the one site that you need for all your college football universe news. I'm telling you, we got the best deep dives. We got the best writing staff. We got the best team over there. Go check them out. And if we didn't hit on your game, you can always hit us up on Twitter. I'm at Gary WCE.
Matt Chris B. Giannini.
Very easy to find us. So go and follow us, and you can ask whatever question. We will respond to you for sure. You guys have been great. Hopefully you all have wonderful Saturdays, and every ticket that you have cashes. We hope the same for ourselves as well. For sportsbookreview.com, I'm Gary.
I'm Chris.
And we will see you all again